Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Damuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gaur Premanande Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravijacharya Asto Taras Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravijacharya Asto Taras Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Saranta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikao Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Rasadi Kaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shaima Purna Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premanande All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschata Desha Tarini Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, good morning. Thank you for coming. Today's class in the beautiful Bhagavatam. And today's class is 11th Canto, Chapter 2, verse 13. Tvaya parama kalyanaha punya shravana kirtanaha smarito bhagavan adya devo narayano mama tvaya parama kalyanaha punya shravana kirtanaha smarito bhagavan adya devo narayano mama tvaya parama kalyana punya shravana kirtanaha smarito bhagavan adya devo narayano mama. What is we're going to chant the verse? Others? Okay. Tvaya, by you. Parama, supremely. Kalyanaha, blissful. Punya, very pious. Shravana, hearing. Kirtanaha, and chanting. About whom? Smaritaha, brought to memory. Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. Adya, today. Devaha, Narayanaha, Lord Narayan. Mama, my. Translation. Today you have made me remember my Lord, the supremely blissful personality of Godhead Narayan. The Supreme Lord is so auspicious that whoever hears and chants about him becomes completely pious. So I say, and you can repeat, today you have made me remember my Lord.
Today you have made me remember my Lord.
The supremely blissful personality of Godhead.
Supremely blissful personality of Godhead.
Narayan.
Narayan.
The Supreme Lord is so auspicious.
The Supreme Lord is auspicious.
That whoever hears.
That whoever hears.
And chants.
And chants.
About him.
About him.
Becomes completely pious.
Becomes completely pious.
Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami stated, Narayana Stadrisha Dharme Madhya Guru Rupa Narayana Rishi. The word Narayan in this verse refers to the incarnation of Godhead, Narayan Rishi, who acted as Narada's spiritual master in his Dharma. Srila Jiva Goswami has also pointed out, Smarita iti Krishnopanishadeshvara Eshvashena Tasyapi Vishmaranat. The word Smarita is brought back to memory. He is brought back to memory. Indicates because of Narada's absorption in the worship of Lord Krishna, he had forgotten Lord Narayan. In other words, if intense engagement in devotional service makes one sometimes forget the personality of Godhead, by Krishna's arrangement, such a sincere servitor will again be reminded of the personality of Godhead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We are very happy to get the session again of His Grace Jivananda Prabhu ji.
Hare Krishna.
How many people know Jivananda Prabhu? How many people do not know Jivananda Prabhu? Jivananda Prabhu ji is born and brought up in America. So he came in touch with Krishna consciousness when Sri Prabhupada was in planet and trying to spread Krishna consciousness far and wide, especially in America. So he was a successful businessman in Afghanistan, doing business, and he came in touch with first parties, some other first parties. He was very inspired by them, and especially from Krishna and the devotees. And then he assisted them in distributing Sri Prabhupada books widely, profusely. He always had this whatever his big area for keeping the books. So in his company, so many lakhs of books used to be there, and from there used to go all over America for distribution. Then was initiated by Srila Prabhupada. So now more than 5 decades, more than 53 years, has been very enthusiastically practicing and preaching Krishna consciousness. Later on, he took up many responsibilities. He commissioned enlightening with others, and then he took up responsibility as the temple president. So he was a person having family, business, at the same time was a temple president also. And managing temple, you understand, managing temple, so he was managing temple, taking care of his family responsibilities, and that. And later on, Prabhupada says, after performing duties and discussion worship, enter to Bhagavad Station in order to preach. He's already preaching, but still with more pointed unpointed focus in order to spread this message of Krishna consciousness created a Mahaprastha. So now the Mahaprastha is traveling all over the world, preaching Krishna consciousness. And we are very blessed that he has some special affection to Newtown devotees. And he comes to bless us whenever he comes to India and gives us valuable session. He is also initiating spiritual master in ISKCON. He has been guiding many devotees who is so senior and so many this, but is very loving, affectionate, and the way he explains Krishna consciousness, you feel Krishna so joyful. If I'm not practicing Krishna, I'm missing everything that I should really become a devotee. So when you meet him and talk to him, you feel like Krishna is such a wonderful process. Like definitely has to take it very sincerely and seriously. So the association always very uplifting and enlightening, and we are so honored that he has come here to again uplift us. Nature of material world is that we go down, but by sadhana association we can again get uplifted and enthusiastic to perform devotional service. So let us welcome His Grace Jivananda Prabhu ji to Sri Vidaya Temple, ISKCON Temple. By loudly chanting 3 times. So he doesn't just have bookish knowledge, he has a lot of knowledge, real knowledge. He has gone through 50 years of life practicing Krishna consciousness, Grastashram, Manapasashram, temple life, and everything, So it's really a great blessing to get to the association. So thank you, Prabhuji, for your valuable session.
Thank you, Acharya Ratna Prabhu, for that nice introduction. I'll try to live up to it. This is, he is so cunning. He sets the board, he sets it so high, and now I have to try hard to. This is a mark of a good leader. Always encourage you to shoot for a higher mark. So, thank you again. It's always very pleasant, very sweet for me to be back in Newtown. All of you are very inspiring. This whole temple is very inspiring. So it's exciting to see you grow. I see all these, every time I come, there's more construction, something more is going on. And so it's very wonderful. It's a wonderful experience for me to witness this. I hope I can live to see the whole thing finished. So once again, the verse, this is Nard Muni, and he's talking with Vasudeva. Excuse me. He's saying, today you have made me remember my Lord, the supreme blissful personality of Godhead, Narayan. The Supreme Lord is so auspicious that whoever hears and chants about him becomes completely pious. So,
those who want any translation, you know, can translate the feedback in Hindi. Okay.
So, this is very amazing to read. The Supreme Lord is so auspicious that whoever hears and chants about him becomes completely pious. So, and therefore, we can see what is the duty of a devotee of Krishna. This constant hearing and chanting about the Lord, his glories, his attributes, his pastimes. It makes the whole environment surcharged with auspiciousness. It makes you auspicious. It makes those who hear you auspicious. By you hearing and chanting about the Lord, it actually changes your life. If you hear and chant enough, you become a different person. So what is this different person that we become? when we chant Hare Krishna, when we remember the pastimes of the Lord, when we discuss the pastimes of the Lord? What is this different person that we become? Does anybody know? How does this work? We actually do become a different person. We become ourselves. There's a person, there's a self inside of us, and it's been covered over for billions of lifetimes, billions of births. We've had so many identities. Why, in this lifetime, we've had different identities. At one point, we were young children. And at some point, we were middle-aged boys, maybe teenagers, girls. And then at some point, we become adults. And then we become students, college people. Then we become professional people, and then married people. You see, we take on different identities. We associate with different crowds. Sometimes I notice when people are going to school, college, they will associate with a political organization. It seems that students in college are very interested in political organizations. They want to make they want to make a statement to the world. They've got something they just want to tell you about how you think the world should be. So that identity is there. Later on, when you graduate from college and you get out in the world, your political views oftentimes will change. Oftentimes, I've seen that. Sometimes they do 180 degree. You may be very liberal at one point, and later on, you may become more conservative in your middle age. So my point is that we change identities a lot. So when we come in contact with the devotees, we have a particular identity that we're trying to show to the world. Right, it's a way that we comb our hair. It's the type of clothing that we wear, the kind of car you may or may not drive. You see? You're putting forth a statement as to your identity to the world. We see that, don't we? So then when we become a devotee of Krishna, these things start to fade away. And underneath that beautiful part and parcel of Krishna, the Jivatma that you truly are, starts to emerge. It starts to be seen. You start to become your real self, the self that you were before you came to this material world, and the self that you always have been. You've just become covered over. You see? And so now, I've noticed through the decades that it seems like you've probably noticed too, when people come, when they become devotees, as they advance in Krishna consciousness, they actually become more beautiful. You notice? Things about them change. Their faces are much more attractive. I think it could be because we become happy. We have happy lines in our faces. You know, there are sad lines, serious lines, happy lines. So, happy lines are very beautiful, aren't they? When you see someone and they're like, oh, they're not happy at all. It's not very attractive, is it? And immediately you think, oh, what is wrong? Something is wrong. And so you may, if you know the person, you may inquire, can I help? Do you need to talk? The devotees are happy, though. We have happy lines. I'm looking out at the faces, all of you. You have these happy lines. Your faces are smiling. Faces are smiling because you, the Jivatma, are smiling. It's the nature of the soul to be happy. Ananda. This is yours. It belongs to you. No one can take it away from you. It can, however, become covered over. It's possible for your Ananda, your true self, to become covered over. As a matter of fact, it happens to all of us who come to this material world. We get covered over. And we start to try to find a place for ourselves in this world. How do I fit in here? I've forgotten that I fit in Krishna's world. You see? When we're in Krishna's world, in the spiritual world, living there as part and parcel of Krishna, as a servitor of Krishna, we fit into that world very well because that's who and what we are. That's what we are. It's nothing artificial. It's reality. But when we, out of some enviousness, possibly, we decide that we want to leave that world and come to this world to be all we can be without Krishna, well, now we have to fit in here. We have to fit into the time, place, and circumstances that we find ourselves in. So here we are in this material world. It's like we've moved to a whole new, like sometimes people may move to a whole new country, you know? And it's like if you move to America, well, you have to fit in there. You have to drive on the different side of the road. You have to do this differently. You have to do that differently. If you move to Germany, wherever you go, you have to fit in with that group there. You still may have some traits that you've always have, but that environment will have an effect on you. Same is true when the living entity, the Jivatma, comes to the material world. It has its effect on you. And wherever you find yourself, wherever you take your birth, you're going to consider, this is my home. Oh, this is my mother. This is my father. When you first take your birth, you don't even know, if you're born in West Bengal, you don't know how to speak Bangla. Well, you don't know any language. You don't know anything. It's like a coin, piece of money that has not been stamped yet. It's just plain. It's it's a blank coin, you see? And so you appear like that, and then you are shaped and molded by your environment, by the people around you. And you take up a certain language. You become attracted to a certain food. Why? If your parents are of one political designation, you become that way too, at least in your youth. You may revolt later on and show them that you're smarter. Younger people like to do that. They like to show the older people that they're smarter. It's by the time someone is 16 years old, I've observed this. They believe that they know everything. You've noticed? They get 16 and they know everything. Why, I go to school and I'm studying and I know so much. And then when they get to be 21, now they admit, I didn't know everything when I was 16, but I know everything there is to know now. Later on, probably in your 40s, in middle age, you'll realize, I never did know everything. I just thought I knew everything. And now there's so much that I don't learn. Actually, that's intelligence. Albert Einstein said that an intelligent man is aware that he doesn't know everything. An intelligent man is aware of how much he does not know. So therefore, to be a good student, you have to be understanding that I don't know. I have to learn. Even when you start to learn, even when you get your degree, there's so much to learn. So much, you see. It's an ongoing process. So Krishna consciousness is like that too. This Krishna conscious movement is here to give people this knowledge. And it's not like a one-time thing. It's not like you get a book and you read the book and now you know everything about Krishna. No, Krishna is unlimited. I need to read that book again and again. I need to hear from you again and again. We need to sit and discuss this again and again. And that by doing that, the Supreme Lord is so auspicious that whoever hears and chants about him becomes completely pious. But yet we keep doing it. You become completely pious, but you can become even more pious than completely pious by hearing it again and again and again, constantly. We don't get tired of it, do we? It's like every year when we chant the Damodar-Ashtaka prayer. We know the story, don't we? After all these years. Okay, Krishna steals butter. His mother gets upset. She ties him up. Right? No, it's beautiful every time we hear it. We love talking about that. We love talking about all of Krishna's pastimes. We know he lifted Govardhan Hill, but yet we want to talk about it again and again. You see? Right. It's not that we're looking for piety. Sometimes when we become devotees of Krishna, we are looking to become pious. It's like we make the decision, yes, I'll take up this chanting of Hare Krishna. I'll become a Krishna conscious devotee because it's the best thing for me. Why, if I do this, this will be good for me. I will benefit from being a part of this Hare Krishna movement. Now that's pious. You can understand I'm doing something good for me. As time goes by, as we develop a little taste of bhakti, we realize that I'm all right. I've done all I need to do for myself. I'm fine. I want to do for others. I want to do for Guru and Krishna. I want to help other people become a devotee. You see? So bhakti inspires us to stop thinking about ourselves and to start thinking about the welfare and the happiness of others. Everyone. Not just the devotees. We want everyone to be happy. Because it's their nature just like it is yours. It's every living entity's nature to be happy. Ananda. They're entitled to it. All living entities are parts and parcels of Krishna. Every one of us is Sat, Chit, Ananda. We're Sat. We're eternal. Chit, we're full of knowledge. We're full of knowledge. And Ananda, we're eternally blissful. Not just real happy. Blissful. So happy that it's hard to contain. You see. So this is our nature. This is who we are. And this is what we are. And that's true for everyone. So what we want to do is just wake everyone up. We want to get them back to thinking as a part and parcel of Krishna. You see, this is the process. We start out, and it's all right. It's okay for us to start out doing what's best for us. Then, let's do what's best for other people once we get situated to where we're all right. Wow. Breathtaking, huh? Sri Gornitai ki.
Jai.
So once we become a little bit situated, it's like if we fall out of a boat. The boat turns over and we're all swimming around in the water. As soon as you get yourself on some, find a rock or a piece of land under your foot, so now you're okay. You're saved. So now you can reach and grab the next one. Come here. This is good for you. So first I did for myself, and now I'm all right. So now let me help you. And now once we're okay, let's help you grab the next guy, and you grab the next guy. And so it's very simple. That's what we're doing. We want to grab as many of these fallen conditioned souls as we possibly can. And we want to introduce them to themselves. Because this self, this part and parcel of Krishna, is very, very wonderful. All living entities are very wonderful. We're just covered over. We're covered over with a false identity. You see, right now there's a lot of talk in the world about identity theft. Have you heard of that? Identity theft? People will steal your identity. They'll steal your bank account and all of your identification. They do it online somehow or other. They're able to do that. So we have a false identity that we're living. We're trying to be this person or that person. We're trying to be someone that we're just not. And it's so difficult. It's hard in the material world. Everyone is struggling. So difficult to establish an identity, raise a family, get some mundane education. It's a big struggle. Whereas being a devotee is also a struggle. But it's a struggle against the illusory energy. It's much easier to be yourself than it is to be someone else. It's much easier. Just be yourself. We have to find out who is that self. So as we hear and chant, more and more, our life becomes more and more pious. And the lives of the people around us will become more and more pious as we learn who we are. What is my service with Krishna? What is my eternal relationship with Krishna? Think about from time to time, when you return back to Godhead, what will you and Krishna do? Huh? Do you think you just won't ever get to see Krishna? Maybe he's too busy. He's got too much of a crowd around him. He lives way over on the other side of Goloka Vrindavan, and you live over here. No, you're going to be with Krishna all the time, every day. Except when he hides, he may hide from you from time to time and cause you to go looking for him. So be thinking about what are you and Krishna going to do? What do you want to do with Krishna? You see, this is the meditation. We should think like that. There's a self within us, a real self that knows what we were doing with Krishna before we came to this material world. We know this. We just need to get that identity back so that when we return back home, back to Godhead, we can take it up again. And it's going to be as if we never left. Maybe we come to this material world and we're here for billions and billions of years. But billions and billions of years in the scope of eternity isn't even a nanosecond. So this whole trip through the material world, these billions of births and all of these different identities, are not even going to be remembered. We'll remember that it was not good. But we're not going to remember these mundane lives. Do you think you're going to sit around and talk with each other back in Godhead and say, hey, remember the time that you were a bird and I was a snake and I ate you? No. Remember when we were big businessmen together and we were doing all kinds of nonsense things and driving big cars? Do you think you're going to talk with? No. You're going to be so swept away by Krishna and the inhabitants of Goloka Vrindavan and the place itself. You're not going to remember all of the garbage that went on here. You will remember that it wasn't good. And you don't want to be away from Krishna ever again. And so you're going to be swept away. So this is what's in store for us. So I should probably pause now and ask if there are any questions. Yes, Prabhu?
Thank you very much for your answer. So my question is from the last part of purpose. Here it is written, in other words, if intense engagement in the devotional service makes one sometimes forget the personality of Godhead, by Krishna's arrangement, such a sincere servitor will again be reminded of the personality of Godhead. So how is it possible to forget Krishna while being engaged in his service? And if you forget Krishna while being engaged in his service, then actually it's not service, we are doing some mundane activity.
This is a really good question. I thought about that. I forgot to mention that, but I thought about that as well. It's possible to get so involved in our devotional service that we actually don't think sometimes of it as service. It's just work. We do work. My work is to do, maybe my work today is to paint the building. I'm painting the building. And I do it every day. Painting. But I'm not thinking of Krishna. I'm not thinking that I'm doing this for Krishna. I'm not thinking I am painting Krishna's building. I'm just painting all day, every day. You see? In other words, if my devotional service gets to be so intense that it might become mundane to me, I could forget that I'm doing this for Krishna. You think that's possible? That we may forget that we're actually doing this for Krishna. I'm just doing it. I can remember people who did some mundane things. We had these mechanics on the Radha Damodar party. And I remember one mechanic, he fixed all of the vans and worked on all of the buses, kept everything running. And so one time he was so busy for so long, he wasn't coming to any programs. And more than likely wasn't chanting his rounds either. So he started to think of himself as just a mechanic. From early in the morning till late at night, just fixing and doing mechanical work, fixing engines, fixing this, fixing that. We had so many vans working on the buses, forgetting. Now, for a long time, of course, he thought, I'm doing this. This is my service to Guru and Krishna. But at one point, he actually told me, he just forgot, I was just a mechanic. That's all I did. And it cost him dearly. Until he had to change. He had to get back to where he was just hearing and chanting more. Sometimes we may think, I'm so busy, I don't have time to go to class. I have such important service, I don't have time to go to. That may happen to you once in a while. But if it gets to the point to where you let your service take you completely away from hearing and chanting, that's not good. You can also limit your association with the devotees if you're not careful. And we don't want that. That's not good for us. So, yeah, I wondered about that too. That's the best explanation I can come up with. That sometimes we get so caught up in our service. It's hard to imagine Narad Muni doing like that, though, isn't it? But sometimes it is possible to get so caught up in our service that we may forget that this is devotional service. This is my offering of love to Guru and Krishna. If it's not an offering of love to Guru and Krishna, maybe it's just work. Is that a good answer?
Anyone has any other question?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So you're mentioning about how when we come to this world, we take on a lot of identities through and through by the environment, by the upbringing, and we get absorbed in those identities. And Krishna consciousness is to bring our original identity back. So how do we, like as this question of Prabhuji also, he mentioned that we get so caught up in the identity that Krishna consciousness focus, like in the service or in things that we do, we get so absorbed that we don't keep a balance or prioritize. So how do we work on a situation like that?
We have to seek this new identity of being a devotee of Krishna. It seems like it's a whole different person that we're trying to become. But very early in our pursuit, if we're sincere, it's really just ourselves that we're trying to be. It's very natural to be a devotee of Krishna. We don't have to try. I mean, we do have to, but we don't have to artificially try. We got to give it our best. We've got to hear and we've got to chant. We've got to do our service nicely. But everything will be awakened from the inside. This identity of ours, our true identity, is just dormant. This love, pure love of Godhead. Sometimes we think, wow, this is so hard to get real Krishna prema. How could I ever do that? But it's dormant within inside us. It's dormant. It's already there. It's already who and what you are. We just have to wake it up. We have to let it wake up. And we do it by hearing and chanting, associating with devotees, and doing some devotional service. In the beginning, it's just service. Then it'll become devotional service. Then it will become loving devotional service. At some point, we will see Krishna everywhere. As our true self awakens, we will see everything will and should remind us of Krishna. It's like if you're going to go to the temple and you get to the door of your room and you remember, my beads, I want to take my japamala. That's remembrance, yes? I remembered. Who is this remembrance? Krishna says, that's me. So when you remember something, that should remind you of Krishna. get in the habit of saying, oh, thank you, Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, my Lord. Krishna is also forgetfulness. Whenever Krishna says, I am the scent of the earth. So sometimes when we smell that scent of the earth, sometimes in Mayapur you get that scent, across the countryside in West Bengal and other parts of India too. But you'll smell that scent. And you think, so this is you. So Krishna is embracing you with this wonderful aroma, the scent of the earth. You see, everything can remind you of Krishna, but we have to work on it. We have to train ourselves. We have to awaken our true self. It's all there. We want to do it. And we're able to do it. We just have to work on it. What are the things that would make us forget Krishna? We know some of the things that'll make us remember Krishna, but what are some of the things that could make us forget? Mundane association. How about mundane talking? You see? Prajalpa. How can we remember Krishna when we're what about if we're gossiping about someone? It's kind of hard to remember Krishna when we're practicing Gramya Katha, the village gossip. You see? So there are many things that will push us away from remembering Krishna. We have to avoid those. We have to avoid them. You see, it's very important. In some places, gossip is a big problem. It's like a sport that the devotees like to do. There's a small community like to talk about the other person. Idle talking, it's too much. I remember reading about when Prabhupada first went to Mayapur, and he was staying in this bhajan kutir. You know the kutir where Prabhupada was staying? So he was in one room, and there were devotees, mostly sannyasis, in the other room. And Prabhupada used to complain a lot that it's too much talking. Talk. Stop talking. Just talk. Maybe Westerners are worse at that, but I don't know. I hear a lot of Indians. It is like, So maybe less talking and more chanting. We have to take out mundane talking. It pushes us away from remembering Krishna. You see. And let's not think of our devotional service as work. Let's not think of it as a chore, something that I have to do. Something that I do because I want to do it. I want to do some service. And if someone is so kind as to give you some service, accept that and make it devotional service. And you may say, but this isn't what I want to do. But wait a minute, this is something you're doing as an offering. If you actually do it as an offering of love, you'll start to want to do it. You will want to do it. So sometimes devotees, they want to talk about their service. I remember when I was temple president, someone would knock on my door. Yes? Prabhu, you have a minute to talk? Yeah, what do you need to talk about? I need to talk about my service. Oh. Doesn't want to do it. I don't want to go and distribute books. I don't want to do this. I don't want to, I remember I was sitting with Tamal Krishna Maharaj one time, and there was a knock on the office door. Yes, who's there? It's so-and-so Das Maharaj. What do you want? I want to talk about my service. And he looked at me, he just rolled his eyes and thought, oh. So, enjoy your service, even if it's hard to enjoy. If you mix in, there's this magic ingredient that you can mix in with everything, anything, and it makes it better. And it's called love. You mix in love with your service, and it becomes loving service. My dear Lord Krishna, I don't like doing this, but I like doing it for you. That's a good demonstration of your love for Krishna, isn't it? If you'll do something that you normally wouldn't want to do, but you're doing it as an offering of love to Krishna, you'll get some special blessings. Anything else? Yes, Prabhu.
You said that as the devotee practices Krishna consciousness, he experiences Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You said that when the devotee practices Krishna consciousness, he starts to experience tasting bhakti, and that taste actually inspires him that right now I have done enough for myself, and I'm good, I'm fine about myself. Now I would also like to assist Guru and Krishna and help others also taste this bhakti. So even for my own self and also to be able to assist, I was asking that we did experience some taste so far. So that's the reason that's what has kept us in devotional service. But I want to ask that this taste is something which we cannot demand. It is Krishna's sweet will. So, but we can create an environment in our heart that would inspire Krishna to our taste. So, what would inspire Krishna to? What can be that environment?
This taste that we're talking about, it comes about because for billions of lifetimes, we haven't been working in partnership with Krishna. We've just been working for ourselves and those that we're trying to manipulate in the world that we find ourselves in. You see, for my own benefit, I need to manipulate this person and this person, because I need to help. I need to engage them in helping me to enjoy. And so if somebody helps me enjoy, they're my friend. And if they don't, then I have no need for them, you see. So when we start hearing and chanting properly, then we start to work in partnership with Krishna. See, now we're working together so we get a sweet taste. Because for the first time since I came to this material world, I'm actually working with my beloved Lord. I'm so close to real love, which comes from associating with Krishna, that I know it's there and I can taste it, but I don't have the full taste yet. But I taste it. Little drops I'm getting. So that taste comes to us once we hear and chant properly and we get some situated, we get a taste. And it's just that we're linked up again with Krishna. Maybe not fully, but we're part of his world again. You see? He's part of your world. He is your world. But we become part of his world again. We become, and it feels good to know who we are. We're a servant. We're a servant. We're a servant of Krishna. That's all we are. And it's good to get a taste. It's like being away from home. And you get a taste of being at home. You see, we've been away from home for so long. It's been so many billions of lifetimes. And so when we start to serve Guru and Krishna's devotees, the servants of the servants, when we start to serve again, it's a taste of home and family. That's this sweet, familiar taste that we get. So we awaken that, and that continues to grow. It'll continue to grow as we perfect our devotional service. And we can always ask Krishna, Krishna, give me a taste. Give me a taste for this hearing and chanting. Krishna may say, I already gave you a taste. I want a bigger taste. I want more. Sure, why not? Why would Krishna not give you more if you want more? He wants you to want more. He wants you to have more. It's not that we get enough and now everything's okay. I've got a little taste. Now, Krishna, you can back off. I don't want to think about you all the time. I just want to think about you once in a while. No, we really do want to think about Krishna all the time, constantly. We really do want that. Is that a good answer? Thank you. Yeah, in the back.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for this wonderful class. Prabhuji, I just said whatever we are doing, whatever devotional service we are doing, the purpose behind this is all to remember Krishna always. And it should not be work, it should be like devotional service. As you said, we should only we can practice when we chant sincerely and we hear pastimes of Krishna. But sometimes situation I face, Prabhu, regarding the services, if some services is given to me while chanting, it happened like this, I'm chanting and I'm thinking about the service that need to be done tomorrow or day after tomorrow. And these thoughts comes automatically. I try to stop it, I try to focus on chanting, regarding same services. So my question is how it affects our consciousness. Is it good? Or after some time it will I can be able to focus on chanting, or how to see this?
If we let it take over our chanting when we're chanting all the time, that's not good. You see? But it's completely normal for it to happen from time to time. Like when you're chanting, suddenly you get some realization about your service. And you may be thinking about that. The chanting might have made you get that realization. Krishna might have whispered it in your ear. We don't know. And sometimes you just need to stop and think, yeah, this is a realization. And maybe you need to write it down. Nowadays, people put things in their phone. I haven't learned how to make notes in the phone very well yet, but it's better for me to write things down. So maybe you want to stop and write it down, and then get back to chanting and try to just hear the names. Prabhupada wanted us to just hear that sound vibration. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare just hear it and focus on that. And that'll push out all the other thoughts. But sometimes the other thoughts come in. If they're mundane thoughts, we have to push them out right away. If they're thoughts about our service, maybe sometimes we need to listen. Maybe this is just an opportune. I often think that Krishna gave me this inspiration while I was chanting. Maybe I was having some good rounds, and Krishna said, all right, listen to this. I've got something to tell you. And it's like a whisper in the ear. And you have some realization about your service. But I don't like to continue chanting while I'm thinking about it. I'll stop and contemplate. And a lot of times I feel like I need to make a note of it. I don't want to forget it. Does that make sense? Yeah, don't get in the bad habit of sitting and chanting and thinking about something else.
Exactly, this is what happens. Like when you think of services, like mind start contemplating on it, and I realize that my round is over. Whatever I'm chanting, but still I'm thinking of that thing. Once it's over, then I got consciousness that okay, well I was chanting, but still that thought of services. Sometimes it happens like regarding the services, some new thoughts comes. If I do like this, it will be much better. So this type of thoughts comes while chanting, but it like to come in from like we don't know, we are not conscious whether we are chanting or we are thinking about the service.
Yeah, we have to guard against that. We have to guard against that. When we're chanting, we should know that we're chanting. Not that you get to the end of the round and you think, wow, how did this happen? I thought I was just going to think about these other thoughts for just a few mantras. All right. I did it for like half a round. Well, that's not good. So we have to stop that. So sometimes it's good. Just stop chanting. If your mind is thinking about your service, you have to just stop. And think about it. Maybe it's something you need to think about. If it's something mundane, it's not something you need to think about. So maybe you need to stand up and walk, or if you're walking, sit down, or whatever you need to do to change the pace, change the mood, to get back to where you can focus on chanting. Sometimes you just have to chant loud. Just chant very loudly. Good question. Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So my question is regarding the same last line of the book, where it is said that sometimes when we engage in devotional service in such a way that we forget the personality of Lord Krishna. So it may also happen that when it is done for a prolonged time, we not only forget the personality of Godhead, we sometimes may forget the whole science of Krishna consciousness. And in that way, we may also lose faith in Krishna. And sometimes we see also some of our devotee friends, they've left Krishna consciousness. So how do we know that they will get reminded of Krishna and the whole science of Krishna consciousness, and they will gain faith in Krishna?
If they have sincerity, Krishna will remind them. If they have some sincerity, Krishna won't just let them go. Typically, there's a reason when someone leaves. I've often said that people don't leave Krishna consciousness. They leave us. They leave me. They leave you. Something that I did was not good for their consciousness. Something that I did or said hurt their heart in such a way that they need to get away from me. Maybe there's a community that's gossiping, and they need to get away from that community. I've seen that happen. I think we all probably have seen that happen. I've seen that happen recently. They don't go away. Typically, they'll go stop associating with the devotees. They'll probably have a little altar in their home. They didn't leave Krishna. They left us. Krishna didn't drive them away. We drove them away. Maybe even it was unintentional. We may say, oh, but I didn't mean it. Well, but maybe we need to learn how to not drive people away. You see? Sometimes people can get so involved in their service and they see it as so mundane. They don't see it as loving devotional service. They start to forget Krishna. And then you factor in gossiping by the devotees or someone who's not treating them properly on top of it. They decide, all of a sudden they've forgotten Krishna. They want to back away. You see? Prabhupada said when someone leaves, it's at least half our fault. At least half. Prabhupada came to one temple. I don't remember where it was. But there was one devotee who wasn't there. And so Prabhupada said, where is this devotee? And they said, oh, Prabhupada, he left. And Prabhupada said, what, he left? Yes. Go get him. Prabhupada said, go get him now. Don't wait until after breakfast. Go get him now. You see? So, this is a family. We have shared responsibilities and shared liabilities. We share it all. So we need to work together to see, to proact that, to guarantee that someone's devotional service doesn't get so mundane to them that they forget Krishna. You see? I've seen that. I've seen that happen. People. Sometimes we get people that are very, very qualified. I remember years ago I saw this very qualified young man that came, and he was given more and more service, and he could do just about anything. And then he was so busy that he wasn't coming to Bhagavatam class. He was involved in service. And then he was not here and he wasn't there. We didn't see him at Sunday feast because he had service. And then he disappeared. You see, we had a tendency to give him more and more. He's so capable, give him more. You see, that we can do that. We've done that in the past.
Just one last clarification.
Yeah.
In the same thing, like how can we ourselves safeguard ourselves so that we don't find ourselves in this situation later on?
We need to always, we must have mentors. We need Guru, Diksha Guru, and we need Shiksha Guru. We need people that we can go to and speak our heart and our mind in confidence. You see, it's spiritual therapy. We need to be able to do that. That'll give us a very good feeling, confident feeling that we have people that I can go when I have an ache in my heart, that I have someone that I can go and share that with. And they won't go telling other people, hey, do you know what he said? No. This is an exchange of love between two Vaishnavas, revealing one's mind in confidence, accepting one's mind in confidence. We have to have that, so that when we feel a little not so good, we need to be able to go talk. Prabhu, can we talk? Yes, certainly. Positively. In confidence, always. It's good just knowing that you can do that, even if you don't need it. It's nice to know that you can do that. You have loving people that will mentor, take you under their wing, and help you. This is a reflection of the spiritual world, everyone looking out for everyone else. We should always be looking out for everyone else. We're always concerned about everyone else. Krishna is. He's concerned about all living entities, so we should be too. Does that answer the question? So we need Diksha. That's essential. We need Shiksha. That's essential. Friends, close friends, dependable friends. That's what a devotee needs, and that's what devotees are. We're close, dependable friends. And we're good at that. Nobody is better at being a close, dependable friend than a devotee of Krishna. And it's a very rewarding experience when we find that someone appreciates us as a close, dependable friend. Doesn't it? It warms your heart. And the reason why is because you know Krishna is pleased with you. You're making Krishna happy. All right. I think I've pushed it again too far. Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to come back to Newtown. I keep thinking someday they're going to say, no, just go somewhere else. But you're not tired of me yet, so thank you all so much. I really appreciate your association. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
His Grace Jivananda Prabhu.